Hi everyone, it's clozapine Fit and Lean. In this video I just want to kind of briefly educate people about how it's thought that clozapine drives metabolic syndrome and weight gain. Right. Clozapine is thought to work by hitting a number of receptors in the CNS, antagonizing them and modulating them, so dopamine, serotonin, etc., etc. It's called, receptor activity is called, promiscuous receptor activity. Now, these similar, or rather the same, receptors that are found in the CNS are also present in other tissues such as the beta islet cell of the pancreas, okay, also the liver cells, okay, and also the muscle cells, so the periphery. Now, say the beta islet, what we have is this problem where the clozapine antagonizes the muscarinic 3, dopamine D2, 5-HT2A and 5-HT2C serotonin receptors on the beta islet cells. And what we see here, therefore, is what we call hyperinsulinemia. So this constant high insulin secretion, irrespective of blood glucose change, rise or fall. Now, insulin is your primary sort of what we call energy storage hormone, and also when you sort of get this hyperinsulinemia problem, is we also get another problem which is called proximal leptin resistance. So your leptin basically is your energy regulatory hormone. Both of these become out of whack, out of balance. Now what you have is unfortunately this biochemically driven problem, which is not a character flaw or a weakness or a behavioural problem. It's a biochemical problem where basically you cannot regulate your appetite and you cannot lose weight, and if you do it comes back on, etc., etc. Now, please, I've had a clinical diagnosis of anorexia nervosa before. I've got body dysmorphia. I've been as long as 7 days straight without eating. I've been as long as 6 weeks straight on only 500 calories a day or less. I've lost 55 pounds in less than 6 weeks before, 9 inches off my waist, 25 kilograms. And as soon as I got onto the full treatment dose of 300 milligrams daily of clozapine, I could not keep my appetite reasonable and I would gain weight very quickly. So how do we combat this? Well, we've got to use something called metformin, which is evidence-based. Okay, I am on 2,000 daily milligrams of metformin XR, and also I use a plant extract called berberine. Now, the metformin seems to have an effect where not only does it sensitize your body to insulin, it also reduces this hyperinsulinemia problem, this high secretion constantly of insulin. It doesn't seem to fully normalize it, but it does a fairly good job way. Otherwise, as well, is the reason why clozapine drives what we call weight gain. Is because of we have this thing called greedy fat cells, through insulin resistance. So, the liver, for example, is a target of what we call histamine H1 signaling impairment. So, this cascade mechanism of phosphorylation, starting at the tyrosine kinase of the insulin receptor, in say the liver. What happens here is this phosphorylation cascade and the protein kinase cascade is inhibited, thereby reducing the liver's sensitivity to insulin, becoming insulin resistant, upregulating hepatic glucose output, and also antagonizing serotonin 5-HT2C and serotonin 5-HT2A at the level of the liver, down-regulating glycogen synthesis. Also, we see a very similar thing happening with the muscle cells. So what we see here as well is that the muscle cells become insulin resistant through, once again, the same pathway antagonism of this histamine H1. So once again, a histamine H1 signaling impairment. So we get this down-regulated glycogen storage, this down-regulation of the mitochondrial's ability to oxidize glucose for to produce ATP for energy currency. So what happens? You have the insulin high all the time. It causes this fat cell effect where that nutrient petitioning isn't favourable. It's now unfavourable. Basically that energy, like glucose, now gets shuttled in to fat cells, which unfortunately accumulates around your waist. So you get this visceral fat effect, which is an unsafe place to store fat. It's highly inflammatory, and also we have the portal hypothesis where this fat will now go through the free fatty acids and cytokines, which are inflammatory, will now infiltrate the liver, gunk the liver up full of fat. And now your insulin kinetics go out the window because you can't fold your insulin correctly, you can't clear your insulin correctly. So it causes systemic insulin resistance, and it drives perpetual weight gain, basically by biochemical problems. Now, there are all other things which I want to, basically explain how I believe, you can mitigate these problems, not just the metformin and the berberine, but also insulin reductive diets, which I'll go into later, as well as exercise regimes involving resistance training. However, that's for another time because the video will cut short soon. So, thank you very much for listening. Okay, there'll be lots more content to come. Okay, and this will be my journey of being lean and fit on clozapine, or fit and lean on clozapine. There we go.